Welcome, everyone, to a fresh episode of GTF, Gabriel Talks Football. My name is Aldo Gandhi. A quick programming note. Tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, Draft on Tap is back. Danny Shimon, a pupil of Greg Gabriel, is going to provide scouting reports, team needs, what have it, on today's debut episode tonight at 7 p.m. Central. The host and producer of the show this season is none other than Aaron Current of the Barfly Tailgate Show. He is an ardent Chicago Bears fan, a draft Nick. He loves following the draft, so that should be an excellent chemistry between those two guys tonight at 7 p.m. If you can't join them live, then please check it out on demand wherever you get your audio podcasts or here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. All right, let's bring in the man of the hour, the man who knows it all about draft picks, the czar of the NFL draft. Every week I'm going to start with some big intro for you to see which one you like. That one was a scratch note.
Actually, I like the intro. I think you did a great job on that.
Thank you. That was really fun to do. I like to tell people that me and my buddy Artie Fishel made that. And artificial stands for AI, artificial. Get it? Artificial?
Artificial, yep.
So, all right, we got a lot to cover. And let me tell the audience that on today's show, Greg is going to start his evaluation of some of the top defensive ends. He's not going to do the top, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. But he's going to do some that could fall to the Bears at 25 or maybe even the second round. Who knows? In addition to that, we're going to talk about what else is going on with the Chicago Bears. And the very first topic, Greg, is, of course, Bradley Chubb. It's just announced about an hour ago that the Miami Dolphins and Bradley Chubb are separating. And so he will now be a free agent. What are your thoughts on the former Pro Bowler?
I think you're going to see this around the league. Teams are getting rid of contracts. Miami's got a new coach. You know, they want to free up money so the coach can bring in guys that he wants to run his scheme. I think there's 4 guys they've released already and freed up, I don't know, $50-60 million, something like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit more than that. Excuse me. Chubb is a good player, but he's damaged goods. Okay, before the show we talked, he's actually played every game the last 2 seasons. Take that back. 2 out of the last 3 seasons, he missed 24 with an ACL. There's other seasons when he didn't have a complete season. He'll be 30 years old in June. You know, you could take a bite if he comes at the right price. If he's too expensive, bypass and go to someone else.
And so I'm thinking that the right price is around $5 to $7 million.
I couldn't even tell you. They know how much money they're going to have to spend. I mean, right now, technically, they're over the cap, but they've got contracts they can rework, restructure. It's easy to do. Really, the player doesn't even have to agree to it. You just automatically do it. That's in the contract already.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So all you're doing is taking salary and turning salary or a portion of salary into bonus.
Gotcha.
And you're handing him a check. Real simple.
I don't think any player is going to argue with that.
It doesn't change anything as far as the dollar amount that he receives in 2026. Mm-hmm. Players don't get paid year round. They get paid during the season.
Yeah.
Okay. They get there's 17 games and there's a bye week, so they get 18 paychecks. That's it. They don't get a paycheck during the playoffs. They get a playoff check, playoff money, depending on how far they go. And then does
that check come from the NFL or the team?
It comes from the NFL.
From the playoffs. Okay, cool.
Okay, there's a set figure. If you play in the first game, you're getting X amount of dollars. If you go to the next game, you're getting more.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We lost in the Super Bowl January 2007. The loser's share was $96,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so Aunt Mass
A lot
asked,
more than that. It's probably double that now for the,
okay, yeah,
the leadership.
I bet it is, and it's going up too. Aunt Mass asked a great question. Does Bradley Chubb fit into Dennis Allen's system? And this is what I did because in preparation for our defensive end draft talk, I looked up what are Dennis Allen's traits for an edge player. It's size, power, being disciplined, and being able to collapse the pocket. That's what I found. Do you want to subtract or add anything?
Collapse the pocket is more interior than edge. Edge has got to be able to put pressure and or sacks. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So, you got to have some speed coming off the edge. There's certain traits that I look for automatically. Obviously, you got to have speed and quickness, and it's real more quickness than flat out time speed, but the time speed helps too. There's been some real good pass rushers. Michael Strahan, who's a leading pass rusher in a season until this year, he was like 4.85, 4.9. He wasn't fast, but he knew how to rush the passer, and he was quick. His first couple steps were really, really quick. Optimally, you want long arms. But the one thing I started to notice in the last few years, just studying pass rusher after pass rusher, is they have the really good ones have a relentlessness to them. Mm-hmm. They refuse to be blocked. They are getting to the quarterback, and you aren't stopping them. And
to the echo of the whistle, right?
And the first guy I was around was a long time ago was Lawrence Taylor. You weren't blocking them, and the good ones, if you take all the good ones, they're the same way. And so I started. If you don't have that, if you're a guy that plays around with you just aren't getting it done. And you got to. It's a want to. It's an attitude. Yeah, obviously you got to have the physical traits, but you got. And I couldn't come up with a better word than relentlessness.
Yeah. And Greg, sometimes I'm defending edge players because I think they're trying to stay in their lane and protect the edge, which is why they're not really pressuring the quarterback. Am I wrong in saying they should still be trying to collapse the pocket, so to speak, and get closer to as opposed to that wrestling you just described?
It depends what the down and distance is. Okay. But if you got an obvious pass down, he's coming. And so you got to have that. Now, when I was with the Giants, we had a base 3-4 defense. And so Lawrence Taylor technically was an outside linebacker, but he was up on the line of scrimmage as like really the fourth defensive lineman on the pass downs, and he was coming. But he never got into a 3-point stance. He was always coming, he's always on his feet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Great question. Thank you for that one. And I'm going to now kind of shift a little bit to actually, this is a really good question.
What we got to hit too is we got to hit the stadium a little bit because
let's do that. I'm going to do that right now.
There's talk that Illinois is starting to come around. My honest opinion,
no,
they're full of it. I do not trust an Illinois politician. I don't care what party he's in. As far as you can see them, their history, you can go back well over 100 years. They're all corrupt. They all got their hand out. They all want something. We're working on it. We're doing what the Bears want. We think we can make a deal. To me, it's lip service, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm totally wrong. To me, it's lip service for when they. And they got to have a deal in place like by the end of next week. Supposedly that's when the Indiana thing comes off the books. Obviously there could be extensions, but I know that's what they want. So my feeling is that the Illinois people are like, see, we tried, the Bears wouldn't do it.
And Greg, I got the feeling that the mayor of Arlington Heights wrote a letter that was made public. I got the feeling he really wants to get this done.
No question, but he's not the decision maker.
Exactly. It's all of the legislators, particularly downstate, are saying well, why? What's in it for us? We're all the way down here. You're doing that for the Chicagoland area. Screw that, So that's what I think.
And I'll go back to what I've said all the time. Oh, it's going to cost us money, yada yada yada. And you know how much they leave out the important part. How much money's coming in?
Mm-hmm.
How much money's coming in to the area for a Super Bowl? How much money's coming in for a Final Four weekend? How much money's coming in for a Big Ten championship? Something like that. There's a college football playoff situation. I mean, there are so many different events that money will just pour in to that area that more than makes up for the amount of money that it takes to fix the infrastructure.
What do you think about Portage Park, Indiana, now joining in and saying, we'll give you the last?
I don't even know where Portage, Indiana's, I think, a longer way away, isn't it?
It's longer and more polluted.
No, I mean, they want to be right across the freaking border.
Yeah.
I've been by there, going back and forth to home in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Going across the Skyway, you hit the toll booth into Indiana in a few minutes and you're there. I know just where it is.
Yeah,
it's actually closer to downtown than Arlington Heights.
It is. That is true. That's true. But they're not going to move the headquarters over there. And I got to believe that the thought of them driving from Arlington Heights all the way to Northwest Indiana must not be very appealing to the Bears brass.
I don't know. They want the best deal where they're going to make the most money. Just look at it this way. And I know I'm being pessimistic, but I'm doing this purposely. Mm-hmm. So it's the Indiana deal. You know how much out-of-pocket money is for the Bears?
Mm-hmm.
How about zero?
Yeah. That's right. That's a great point, Greg.
Okay, where Arlington Heights, they got to pay for the stadium.
That's right.
Now look at there was the Buffalo Stadium is almost done, and there was a great flyover video, drone video the other day. Did you see it?
Yeah,
really
looks awesome.
Okay, that doesn't have a roof. It has a partial roof. It's not fully covered, and there's a lot of state-of-the-art stuff in there. Mm-hmm. That's $2.2 billion.
Not bad. Yeah, that's
okay. So what do you think of a stadium here?
Yeah,
that's actually could probably be 3,000 or 4,000 seats more.
Yes.
It's going to cost because as you go up, it changes the cost dramatically because you're adding, the lower bowl's easy. It's when you get up high that it gets expensive.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. And then I'll add this. All of these other events that you mentioned last week that a stadium in Illinois could attract, the conventions, basketball tournaments, concerts, etc.,
Super Bowl.
They would prefer it to be in Arlington Heights, not too far from O'Hare Airport, because they don't want to go to Northwest. Taylor Swift doesn't want to go to Northwest Indiana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know that, but if I saw Taylor Swift ever, I could care less. You know what I like? Give me that classic rock and roll, baby.
There you go.
If the money's there, they're going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Garth Brooks did 2 days at Notre Dame Stadium.
Yeah. But the hotel space and amenities like good restaurants
is downtown Chicago.
Yeah, but that all that acreage in Arlington Heights is begging for a new Hyatt hotel, for a new Sheraton.
I agree with you. That's the ideal site. I just don't agree that Illinois is really going to pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I know they say they're talking, so people are anxious. And what I just said, I think it's lip service, and they're going to say we tried, and you know what? They didn't.
Stephen Nagishi says building a dome stadium just to host one Super Bowl makes no sense to him.
No, you're going to get a minimum of one.
Yeah.
In a city as big as Chicago, we're like 10 times bigger than Minneapolis. Minneapolis has had them. Detroit's had a couple. You're going to be in the rotation in Chicago because you got facilities. You got to have 2 practice facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a lot of times one's a college. You got Northwestern, and you got Bears facility, so that's taken care of.
Yeah.
You got hotel rooms galore, and so you could probably, once a decade or more, have a Super Bowl here.
Yeah, and Stephen, I think you're putting too much emphasis on the Super Bowl part of this. It's also the concerts. It's also the conventions. It's also the
concerts. They're getting the concerts no matter what.
Yeah,
but
this would be money for the Bears, not for United States.
But you're a Final Four, and you're going to get one if you build it, especially because of Chicago.
Right.
You can't hold a Final Four game at the United Center. It's not big enough. They want a big facility. Okay, so a college football playoff game, college football championship game. These are all possibilities. Just those real big. The Big Ten football championships in Indy. Their offices are here in Chicago. Why wouldn't they change that game to Chicago?
Great point. All right, moving on. I've got this that I want you to react to. Wait a minute. I had one other comment here that I think was based on the subject matter. No, this is New England Bears fan. He's saying that Bill Zimmerman reported that the Bears are trying to cut Deo and TJ Edwards with injury settlements. If that is true, and if it happens, how does that process work? And can the player decline an injury settlement?
Yeah, I have never heard that. So I don't know if it's true.
Bill has some sources, right?
Right, but I don't know if that's true.
Right.
Dale had a second Achilles injury. The first one was in college at Vandy, his last year in college, and so he didn't work out at the combine stuff while he was rehabbing. Then he played as a rookie for the Colts. He might have missed some time as a rookie for the Colts. Then TJ just signed an extension last year. Okay, so what's off on this saying injury settlement? That doesn't wipe out the extension cost. That doesn't wipe out the bonus they got paid. Okay, so a lot of money into that. So I'm not buying.
Thank you, Levante. He clarifies. He says Zimmerman was saying it can happen, and it's not like he's reporting it as a fact or a rumor here.
Okay, no, it can't happen because let's go get to over the cap.
Okay,
so get to the Bears.
Yeah, Aunt Mass is saying, well, Illinois taxpayers pay the same as in California. I don't think so. I hope not.
Okay, Dio. There's no cap savings by getting rid of Dio, and there's 22, and this is a cut, not a trade. There's $22 million in dead money. If you do it post June 1st. I lost it. The page came off. If you do it post
June 1st.
Yeah, it is.
Let's save a little more money.
17. It's 17.5 in dead money. It ain't happening. Okay, then. Now where's Tremaine? Or not Tremaine? TJ Edwards. TJ has, you'd pick up $250,000 in cap space, big deal, and you'd have $10.5 million in dead money. Those things aren't happening.
Yeah,
the Bears are right now, as it stands today, using OTC as the number. They're 5.3 over. They got to clear 5.3 just by 3 weeks from Wednesday, and 3 weeks from today, you can start agreeing to contracts with free agents.
Okay. So let me ask this. I think perhaps the Bears are thinking, well, these guys have clearly their availability is in question, and their effectiveness as players is in question too. What can we do to mitigate that?
Okay, now that's fans saying that, not the coaches.
Yeah, I'm saying they could be saying that.
Okay, well, they can't. The numbers are the numbers. You can't get around the numbers, Aldo. It's just they are what they are. So and they're not in position to take a hit. And I'm going to go back. We've said this 1,000 times, and I said it was Swifty on Friday too. The fans don't like Dio. The coaches love him. Okay, and the fans, no, he's got to go. It's the same thing as DeAndre Swift last year. Got to get rid of DeAndre Swift. He only had the best year of his life. So
yeah, I get that, but let's stay on the topic.
Throw all that stuff out.
Forget DeAndre Swift. Let's stay on Dio, for instance.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying.
Hold on. They can't love the fact that he missed so many games. They can't love the fact that he had only one sack. They can't love the fact that his pressures were hurt. Yeah, but that's the thing.
But
been hurt before.
The point is, the coaches loved exactly what he was doing.
They love his potential.
And they couldn't do exactly what they wanted to do with him because Booker was hurt. Booker didn't come back until Dio was already gone.
That is true.
So what they wanted to do in a perfect world is Dio comes inside on passing downs, and he has a lot of production rushing as an interior guy.
Yeah. And
then have Booker on the outside.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it's an overreaction by the fans. Sure, they can have that. I had a biology teacher in 10th grade. He says, you pay your money, you takes your chance. You can do that.
Absolutely. And no disrespect, Greg, I just feel like the Bears coaches loved Dio when he was playing, but I'm not sure that love is still as strong today as it was back when
because he got hurt?
Because he got hurt, and because they looked at the tape and said, you know what, we could get better at this position, particularly with the money we're paying him.
But you can't get rid of the money.
Yeah.
You made a commitment. You made a long-term commitment. You're married to him. And it's not, and it's a messy divorce.
Yeah.
So the thing you got to look at. This year, they got money problems.
Yeah.
You can't just
challenges.
Throw away $17 million.
Yeah.
Or what is it? $22 million if you got rid of them right now.
D. Levine says Dio is very productive when he played. NFL is about production. He didn't warrant the deal that they signed him to. Could he have? Maybe. And I'm not giving up on Dio, but I just wonder if they are looking for what potential options they can to, have somebody else at that position play more snaps if he doesn't deliver as promised.
Well, I think we all know the plan is to bring in more people.
Yep.
You want to have an 8-man rotation.
Yep.
And a solid 8-man rotation.
Lee Everyday says if you have to choose, do defensive ends improve the defensive tackles more, or is it the other way around? Defensive tackles improving the defensive ends.
They're going to help each other. And there's one part of the equation people never talk about or realize, and part of it we're just having Dale. Dale missed the last half of the season. Right after he went down, Shamar Turner, who they moved outside and probably better outside, he got hurt. So that's 2 out of your 4, your supposed top 4, that weren't even there. The whole and what did we do? Got to the playoffs with them, won a lot of games.
Great point.
So you're talking, not you, talking like this team was terrible. Well, look at the freaking stats in the playoff games. That defense played good.
Yes,
that defense played good. They won one game and they played good enough to win the other game.
And I think Greg, the reason they played much better is because of Kyler Gordon's return, because of what he does. As you have explained multiple times, he's such a physical nickelback, able to blitz, able to help with the run game and so forth. I think that was a big reason why the Bears played so well in the playoffs. You agree with that?
More so the second game than the first game.
Yeah.
The first game, they were going at him the first game, and he looked rusty. But you have to anticipate that now he's got the whole off season to get healthy. Same with Jalen, and that they'll go into 26 feeling pretty good. I mean, Jalen got his injury like 2 weeks before camp started, so he was hurt from the get-go.
Yeah. Dominic says, it's hard to believe Aldo hosts a show with Greg every week and still thinks football like a meatball. Yeah? Well, fuck you, Dominic. Well, fuck you. All right. So let us now talk about, before we talk about the combine, which I want to talk about before we talk about the draft picks, I also wanted to share with you about potential free agent edges, because the conversation is going to switch to defensive ends on our show. And here are some that I have looked at. Let's see if I can put this on the screen. Yes. Tano, according to some, is the best. Here. Exactly. And when they released him, I think they were kicking themselves because with those injuries that you mentioned to Turner and Dio, they probably wish they would have had Tano. Safe to say?
To me, he's average.
Okay.
Smoot, I haven't studied Smoot in a long time. Hecht, if that's how you pronounce his name.
Yes, it is.
Missed the first 6 games for Buffalo for a, we'll call it steroid suspension.
That's right. Yeah. And then he got injured after he returned. So
so who knows what the hell he is.
Yeah.
And, I really don't. DeMarcus Walker, Gordon Phillips, I don't know them. DeMarcus Walker was here. None of those do any. I mean, none of those names do anything for me as far as trying to upgrade what they already have.
Yeah. Okay. And then I did a little bit more research and I said, well, really, some of these guys aren't going to make it to free agency. Of the guys that do make it to free agency, which ones? And they came back with Tom.
Willard started out his career here. He's not an edge. He's a tackle. So
yeah. I thought that was a ridiculous suggestion. Smoot is the only likely guy that might interest the Bears. So what are your thoughts on Smoot again?
I haven't studied Smoot in a while, but I don't know what his production has been. So I'd have to go back and look at the production.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working more on the college players than the pro side.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that then, because the combine is coming up.
Next
Go ahead.
week,
You had another thought?
No, just that. It starts next week.
Right. And so I'm interested because I love the process of preparing for drafts and combines and so forth. Based on your experience, what are the Chicago Bears doing to prepare for the combine and get the absolute most they can out of those 7-8 days?
Well, the first couple of days are meaningless. I mean, you have some interviews, but you got the first group of players come in on that Monday. Meetings can start. Well, they probably won't start till Tuesday because now everything is reversed from when I was working. They did it a few years ago when the workouts were in the morning. Now the workouts don't start till like 3:00 in the afternoon. And they go into the night. And so you don't really have those nighttime interviews. Well, we used to work the guys out in the morning, and there would be other stuff going on before the workouts went on. There'd be the weightlifting, physicals, and all that. Well, now that stuff's going on. You're during the day, you're interviewing the kids, and you interview them in your suite in the stadium, and which are the good sized suites where they can have some coaches in there and the player and get them on the board, do a lot of stuff. They only got about 18 minutes, but you can get a little bit done in 18 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the timing's different. We used to start interviews at 6 and go to like 10:30. Okay, and now you're not doing that on the back end because you had the workouts late. Actually, I think the way they're doing it now is better because it's not as exhausting for the players. How about this? You're interviewing a player and he's got an interview at 10 o'clock. He gets done with that at 10:15, and he's in the first group to work out, and he's got to be over at the stadium at 7:30 in the morning.
That's bad. That's bad.
It doesn't that. The way they switched it around, I mean, somebody had the light go off in their brain and say, yeah, that's a good idea. And obviously the television helps too. You're getting better ratings having the thing televised late in the afternoon, early in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. Hey, a question just popped into my mind, Greg. What is the most off-the-wall question you've asked a prospect when you've had that meeting time? A question that perhaps you thought this is useful for me to know, and he may not expect this question. Like I've heard, some weird questions like, what's your favorite protein shake or shit like that. I just wondering, do you recall a weird question that you asked?
No, what you try to do is you find out, but let's just assume guy had an arrest or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this happened with a couple players. So you get all the facts beforehand. And so the answer to the questions. So now you pop the question. Tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to do one or two things. He's going to tell you the truth, and you already know what the truth is, or he's going to lie to you. Most of the time they lie. And if they do lie, they're done.
Yeah. You don't trust that guy, that's for sure.
No, and that is flat out. I mean, there was a player, I don't want to say the school or the position, and right now it would be a big deal because it was weed, but it was then, and he lied about everything, so took him off the board.
Well, and that's happened numerous times. Hey, what happened to my screen here? Are you still there, Greg?
I'm here.
Okay. All right. For some reason, everything went black, but I'm back now. All right. So
anyway, back to the prep there. So this week, I would say probably by Wednesday at the absolute latest, maybe tomorrow, the Bears can interview up to 45 guys. Used to be more than that. At one time we could go to 60. And that was work. Let me tell you, you were interviewing guys. And my thing is, we had Jerry was in there, I was in there, Lovey was in there, the area scout, the position coach, and the coordinator. Well, if you're doing all different players, the position coach can go. Jerry sometimes had things to do, or Lovey had things to do with meetings with agents or something like that. But I had to be there for everyone. So, I mean, it's an exhausting night doing that. You're doing, 20 interviews, 15 interviews a night. And now I myself would only ask a couple questions. We had a set interview we'd go through, and the area scout, who in most cases already had a relationship with the player, he'd be the guy asking the questions. And then when we got done with that main part, then Lovey could come in, Jerry could come in, position coach, me, or whatever. But a lot of times I sat and listened.
Okay.
And took notes.
Which is good because you're reading body language, I'm assuming.
Right.
You're listening for, candor. Is this guy speaking frankly and so forth? What else might you be looking at?
No, well, what's funny is I was at 30-something combines. So nothing changes but the faces. The kids are always the same. And so you can you can read through a kid in seconds. If he's being sincere, if he's full of shit, if he points the finger, you find that out really, really quick. We had a player, really talented kid. Again, I don't want to mention the name of the school, but coming out of high school, he's highly rated, had a couple good seasons, and his last year at the school he was at kind of went off a little bit, and he ended up getting tossed off the team. So we brought him in, and he ended up playing the league, but he was never as good as people thought he would be. And the main reason was what we got out of the interview. He was a finger pointer.
Oh.
Okay, his problems were caused by himself.
Yeah.
But all he would do is point the finger. It's because of this. They didn't do this. So no, you don't want that guy.
No way.
And I think he ended up playing for like 4 or 5 different teams over 8 years. So yeah, he made some money, but nobody held on to him because for the same reason.
Yeah. And Greg, I imagine that besides what you learned from watching him on tape and getting the medicals and so forth, one of the other big things that you want to learn from him is how much this player loves the game of football. How do you go about
that becomes apparent too when you're but although it's a long process, you're talking to coaches at the school. You're talking to people on the perimeter, equipment manager, trainer. One of the best people to talk to, student advisor. Okay, who has nothing to do with football, and you find out a lot from that person, and so you're getting as much info as you can. But to get back, where I was, so I don't lose track here, is they got to turn in the names of the 45 this week. The combine then has a big job putting these dance cards together for 319 players. So they're not scheduled to be 3 places at the same time. So setting up the schedule is hard. And you got an assigned time for each interview, and you're going to go from suite to suite to suite to suite. And so it's just the logistics of putting that together.
Yeah.
You got to take your hat off to the combine people, which is National Scouting, pretty much runs it, and they're in Indianapolis. They do a great job doing that behind the scenes work, just coordinating everything, with the players and with the teams. But once you get into the interview, you only got 15 to 18 minutes. So it's not in-depth. You don't have enough time. Hell, we do this for 90 minutes to 2 hours. So,
exactly. And we still have more questions when we're done.
Right. But, you want to get a really in-depth interview with the kid, you either got to go to the school or bring him in on your 30 visits.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So when it comes to scouting a defensive end at the combine, what drills should we be paying more attention to? Because you've shared with us in the past that some of these drills really are superfluous.
Well, actually, a lot of it for an edge player, they don't. The drill they've only been doing the last few years. I wish they were doing it when I was there. That hoop drill. Because that shows lower body flexibility and your ability to lean. And I use different words if I'm writing a report. I use bend, dip, and lean. Well, bend is bending your knees, and the lean is this, and then the dip is just staying real low. Because you want to see a guy who can get underneath his opponent. There's some guys that can get so damn low coming off the edge, and
knee high.
Yeah. And that's because they got just tremendous overall flexibility. Yeah. And a lot of those guys are your great pass rushers. So that drill is important. Obviously the 40, but you're also looking at the 10 and 20. That first 10 yards, especially for a pass rusher, is really important. So you want to know that 10 time. There's other guys that, that he might run fast, but his first 10 is slow. He picks up speed.
Yeah.
As he goes. And then, generally speaking, a long strider is like that, where he might be faster from 20 to 40, but not from 0 to 20.
Yeah. And so it's much more important to have somebody who has an explosive get off.
Right. So you have all those times electronically timed. You have the 10, the 20, and the 40. And so that's important. I always want to know the jumps because both the vertical and the long jump test explosiveness.
Gotcha.
And so, if a guy's got a poor vertical, a lot of times, excuse me, the 40 and the jumps correlate. Every once in a while, you get a guy that's off. He'll run real fast and he can't jump. But that is a little bit of a red flag. You want to know, then you got to figure out why. But a lot of times, fast guys jump well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that shows that they got explosiveness.
That when a guy doesn't jump well, or maybe doesn't get off to a good 10-yard start, but in his pro day, the results are different. They're better or even worse. What do you do? What do you rely on as the most reliable thing that you saw?
You're talking about the 40 or everything?
Well, any of these drills that there's a disparity.
What's been going on now, and I say now, I'm going back to the last 15 years or so, 18 years. If a guy has a good workout at the combine, he isn't doing anything else with the pro. He'll do position drills. He'll do a private workout. He's not timing anymore. He's not jumping anymore. You got the number. That's what it is. Yeah. Now you got to remember this. Right now, these kids, through the end of this week, maybe even into the first part of next week, depending on when they have to report, they're at these performance schools doing nothing but getting ready for Indy. Yeah. Part of it is getting ready for interviews. They're taught how to answer questions.
Yeah.
You have a professional in there doing that. Sometimes they have some former front office people who sit down with the kid and they start going back and forth just to see his mannerisms and stuff. And you try to teach. I did that a couple times for one agency a few years ago. I had to go out to San Diego and do it. And I probably worked with about, over the 2 years, probably 25, 30 kids.
Cool.
Just trying to get them, I was getting through the interview. And I do a type of interview that we did. So, and to get them used to it and then say, hey, look, don't do this, do this. Here's how you can improve, that type of thing. So
sure thing.
You got to remember when you're at the combine, everything has been trained for. So they're expected to be good. Okay. They've worked on their start. They've worked on the long jump. They've worked on the vertical. They've worked on the 3-cone and the 20 shuttle. They get their steps down. Everything is supposed to be perfect. So when the guy, now obviously to the commentators and the fans, guy jumps out of the building and he runs real fast, you start having orgasms that you got to have this guy. That's not the thing that excites a team.
Okay.
It's more when the guy doesn't do what you expect. And then you're going, whoa, what's he been doing the last 8 weeks?
Indeed.
So, the great workout doesn't always show you. Now it does when, we do a report, you're looking at the tape and like we'll do these guys. I got an estimated speed for some of these guys based on how they play. Okay, let's say I estimate an edge and he runs I estimate him to say a 4.72. And he gets into Indy and runs 4.57. Like, whoa, I didn't see that. But it means two things. Number one, you like it. And do the other drills correlate with, excuse me, that 4.57? Or am I seeing Mr. Made Up Man over here? And that was the training that he did, and he's really the guy I saw on tape.
Okay, that makes sense. Sure. By the way, Greg.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah. Who is the name of that guy that year after year after year, he's over at the starting line with the whistle for the 40-yard dash. He's been doing it for 20 years. What's his name again?
Mark Gorsick. He works for the Senior Bowl now. He's retired. Does some Senior Bowl work. I've known him forever. He's from Pittsburgh, native Pittsburgher, worked for the Steelers forever, retired a year and a half ago. And then I thought it was a great move on the Combine's part to bring, even though he's retired, bring him in to be the starter last year. Yeah. And he likes it, and he does a really good job doing it. His manners. I've had dinner, we've been on the road a lot, but I've had dinner with Mark 10 times, 12 times over the years. Always have a good time. Really, really good guy.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. All right, let us now turn our attention to Greg's scouting evaluations. We got a handful, but before we actually do that, let's talk about the players you're not going to give us in-depth reports on today. Some of the top prospects, and those are the kid from Ohio State, Arville Reese, David Bailey.
David Bailey, Texas Tech.
Oh, my bad. Reuben Bain out of Miami, Keldrick Falk, and Hakeem Messidor.
Yeah, lot of all these guys are projected not to be there when the Bears pick. After the combine, you start getting a little better feel of if they will, and then we'll go back and do them.
Yeah, if Messidor, because he's like 25 years old, is that one of the reasons you have him on this list of guys you're not evaluating today? Because the Bears might still.
Age is always an issue when they're overage. But it's not as big an issue now as it used to be. I remember if we put what we called a circumstance number on the guy's card if he was older than 23. And that would kind of knock him down. It wouldn't knock his grade down, but you wouldn't take him where his grade said because of the age. And you don't really worry about that as much now because you know what? You got a rookie contract. If he doesn't produce in the 4 years, you're not bringing him back. So, you're worrying about 4 years. So now being 25 isn't as bad a thought because you're talking 25, 26, 27, 28. So he's, his next contract could be 29 years old, which is still, if he's a good player, you still get a few good years out of him. And if you end up getting 8 years out of him, you got a hell of a pick.
Yeah.
So it's an issue. I'm not going to say it's a red flag, but it's a flag. Maybe a yellow light, caution light. But it depends, how good is the player? And has he already reached his ceiling? And that's one of the things you got, or do you still think there's upside? If you think he's already as good as he's going to get, then that caution might turn to, little darker shade.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So who should we start with here?
Well, I got, these aren't in order. Gabe Jackas. He's, local guy, Illinois guy.
A lot of people in the chat room have been asking about Gabe Jackas. Go for it.
You know what? Guy's growing on me. He had a really good season. Okay, at the Senior Bowl, he was 6'0", So the way that reads, when you look at the numbers, that means 6'3", and the 1 means 1/8. So 6'3" and 1/8. Weighed 260. I estimate his speed at 4.7. He had 32 3/4 inch arms, which means they could be 33 1/4 or 32 1/2 when he gets to the combine. We've talked about that, but that's right on the lower portion of where you want it. I mean, 33 and above is preferred, but the guy who got Parsons, who goes from Dallas to Green Bay, and Green Bay gave up the world for him, had 31.5-inch arms. But he's the exception, not the rule.
Gotcha.
Or maybe it was 31 3/4. But this guy, I think when you look at his size, his strength, his power, and his game. Now, he played on his feet. Very seldom did he get down to three-point stance. And he did drop into coverage sometimes because technically he was a linebacker in that scheme. But when he came, darn good pass rusher. I said he's a solid all-around player. He plays the run well. He can rush the passer. I think he's underrated myself. I said in the run game, he plays with strength. He can set the edge, gets off blocks quickly, has strong hands. He knows how to use his hands, has various hand moves. They're quick. So as a pass rusher, very quick first step. Not a burner, but fast enough. He wins with speed, power, and moves. He can flatten at the top of the rush. That means, get to the top point of your rush, and then you can make a quick change of direction and get low and turn towards the quarterback. He does that really, really well. And he also has the flexibility, that bend and lean to get underneath. And he's got, remember I mentioned relentlessness? He's got that. He has got that want to make the play. And I think he might have it as well as anybody in this class. Now, I didn't do some of those guys at the top, but all these other guys, he's right at the top as far as having that relentlessness. I just think he's an underrated player. Nobody's got him going in the first round now. It just wouldn't shock me that teams like him better than some of the and a lot will depend. He pulls off a 4.65 or something at the combine. All of a sudden, these analysts are going to be, lighting up the phone with him.
Do you think that he could drop to number 57 Bears pick in the second round?
No.
So they would have to trade up.
Yeah. I don't. I do think he'll be there at 25. I do not think he'll be there at 57. So he's somewhere in there.
What is the number one thing about Jackus that concerns you that you say to your coaches you need to work with him on blah, blah, blah?
I think he's got a really good all-around game.
Okay.
Just refine what he already has, which will come. He's got the production. 11 sacks is 11 sacks, and he did it in a good league. Big Ten's a pretty good league now. So he's playing against quality people, and he does it game after game after game.
And he was a team captain, so you got to love that, right?
Yeah. And team captains in most places are voted on by the players. So that means the players respect him.
Mm-hmm.
Shows that he's probably got a pretty good work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I got a connection for Illinois, and if he was really a guy that the Bears wanted, it's one phone call, and that's to Olin. And both Olin's sons played with this guy, so that
would be cool.
And Olin's one son,
mm-hmm.
who was in this draft as a center, he was a two-time captain, so one of the two captains.
Love it. Okay. Getting tons of questions. I'm going to save most of them for after Greg's evaluations, but I will entertain ones now that are dealing with the topic, like J2K's question. Does Jackus have the length Allen looks for? Would he make an exception for Jackus given his traits?
Well, I'm going to go back to what I always say. You take, first of all, you're looking at the length and the arm span. The arm span is fingertip to fingertip. No, 32 3/4 is not ideal. He looks longer than that just looking at him. We will get, I don't believe, one arm measurement that comes out of an all-star game. Okay. I've gone over, probably 20 times on here. It is the most screwed up measurement that we have. And the only place you can trust is the combine, because first of all, they're very meticulous on how they do it. And number two, the same guy does it with all 319 people. You don't have a different guy. But the important thing, I mean, everybody knows you go to the tip of your middle finger, but it's where you start in here. And it's supposed to be right here at the AC joint, and then, go out like this and measure it. But if they start a little far outside or a little bit far towards the neck, you're adding a half inch, taking off a half inch, whatever. And so the measurement isn't right.
Gotcha.
I mean, and I'm not lying when I say this. We used to get, some guys used to play in multiple all-star games. You'd get a pro day measurement and you get a con day measurement, and a pro day measurement and a combine measurement. So let's say you had 3 or 4 measurements. You'd have 3 or 4 different measures. Which one's right? Well, you take the combine. Perfect example, Decker. I think I mentioned this once before, the left tackle for Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I remember having a conversation with Howie Roseman, when he was coming out, and this was during the fall, because I really liked him. And he said, short arms. I didn't have the spring measurements, because they have the combine guys go in there. On the pro day, they'll measure the underclassmen too. But you got to remember, the combine guy is the young, inexperienced scout. So they're liable to fuck it up. And they do. So in Decker's case, he was like 32 and a quarter, 32 and a half is spring measurements. And so, how his arms are too short. How they look longer though? No, they're too short. Well, you get to the combine, he's 32 and a half, I think it was, or 33 and a half rather. So his arms were fine, but yet, how he was throwing them out because of that spring measurement. And that's why I only believe one. I believe the combine. Because there's a consistency in that measurement. So go with the consistency.
Yep, makes sense. All right, let's move on. Who would you like to tackle next?
Okay, Zion Young, Mizzou. Right. 6'5", 262. I estimated 4'6", He'd got some long arms, 34 and a quarter, and he had 7 sacks this year. Now, I said his 25 tape was excellent. But before 25, he never had more than 2.5 sacks in a year. So that was, is he a one-year wonder, or is he just coming on, late bloomer, so to speak? And that's part of what your research will try to find out. Ideal size, similar to Jackus in the way that he plays. They have a very similar playing style. He runs really well. In the run game, he shows strength at the point. He can set the edge. And the other thing he can do is take on a block and slide inside really quickly, stop the inside run. He doesn't give ground when he's going up against tackles, taking on the block. He's able to hold the point. Good pursuit player. He has speed, takes good angles, very quick hands as a pass rusher. Of this group, he might have close to the quickest hands, and he really knows how. He's been taught well as far as hand use. Good bull rush. He can get low and use power, get into the chest or below the chest of the offensive lineman, drive them back, and then do a quick hand move and get off that and get to the quarterback. But he can, when the offensive lineman sets, when he gets into his chest, he's going to knock him back 2 yards. And he does it on a consistent basis. And that, I like saying that. He could change, he has a move and a counter move. You can put them all together. He closes really well to the quarterback. I said overall his arsenal is good. Um, the one thing that, why do you only have 7 sacks? They use they're in a rotation there. You'd want more, but the tape is good. So you got to do research. I said he has the traits. I like the pass rusher. He and Jackus are close, in my opinion.
J2K says that his quickness, his lack of quickness, is a liability. You agree?
I saw no problem with his quickness, but we'll find out what his quickness is when he gets tested.
Okay,
that's why we do this stuff.
Absolutely. And then Lance Zerline says that against Auburn, Xavier Chaplin, who has great length, nullify Zion Young. So are you concerned that Young may not have the length to be a difference maker in the NFL?
Well, yeah, it's 30. He measured 32 and a quarter at the Senior Bowl. So, or 34 and a quarter, excuse me. So, at worst, he's going to be 33 and 3/4. I mean, he's got good length. There's not a football player in America that doesn't have a game against some player where he doesn't play as well as you think he should, for whatever reason. And sometimes you look at the tape and you don't like the way the guy played, and then you go back to the school and you ask why, and a guy might have been hurt that game. And I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm just saying you gotta know everything. I love Lance, and he was on last year. He's a great guy, but I think, and I've told him this, he gets too much into the negative instead of the positive. And I try to dwell on what can he do. Don't tell me what he can't do. What can he do that can help us win?
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. But you do want to know.
For a second, I want to cough.
I was just going to say to Greg, you do want to know what are the things the player needs to work on, right?
For sure. But I mean, there's going to be. Let's use not Montez, but the other guy,
Dale,
no, Booker, Austin Booker. Booker measures 33 and a half. He plays like he's got 36 in his arms. He looks like he can tie his shoes standing up. So, maybe the measurement was wrong on him. But he's got that stab, that one-hand stab. Now, here's a guy who's like 250 pounds maybe, yet he overpowers people with one hand.
And is that because of how great his leverage is?
Well, it's his leverage, and it's really strengthened his lower body. Even though he's not big, he's a narrow frame, but he's got strength from his hips down, and then he puts that stab in. Your power's coming through your lower body, your torso, and so he does it. He stabs a guy, and it's impressive. There's a guy here I'm going to get to who's got a stab just like that. It reminded me of Booker.
So is it safe to say that the power comes from the feet up?
Well, your power base, the bench press is a very misconceiving stat because it's strictly here. Okay. And so, you're looking at an offensive lineman and he does 32 reps. Oh, he's real strong. Yeah, but he might have no ass to him. And the power to move somebody off the line of scrimmage or to anchor is from the waist down, not the waist up.
Yeah.
Big ass, power in his thighs. That's where your power base comes from.
Yep. I think Bears fans are around my age remember Richard Dent. His ass was pretty high up. Walter Payton used to kid around that when Richard Dent reaches for his wallet, he just reaches behind his back because his ass was up to the middle of his back.
Well,
so
he is what we call high cut.
Yeah,
very long legs, shorter torso.
Okay.
And those
good.
guys,
All right.
I'm built like that. My father was built like that.
Yeah.
My one sister looks like her back's about this long because her legs are so damn long. I mean,
That's awesome. All right, let's move on. Who do you got next?
Derek Moore,
Ooh, yes.
Michigan, at the Senior Bowl, 6'0", 254, 34 and a quarter inch arms, 10 sacks, 19 sacks in 3 years, playing in a rotation. So he's had production year after year after year. Playing at Michigan, he played on some pretty good teams. I said, interesting prospect, not as talented, to my eye anyway, as the two above, meaning Young and Jackus, but still very good. Don't see the speed that the others have, but he is quick. He's a good run defender, but he's not as consistently as good in the run game as Young and Jackus. I said, shows he can be stout and get off blocks and set the edge. Doesn't look special as a pass rush, but at the end of the day, he has production. He just gets the job done. I said, real good using stunts. So a lot of times where you see him, he'll do a stunt with the defensive tackle where he takes a step outside and then he loops back to the inside of the defensive tackle. He's got a few sacks doing that, and he's really good at doing that. His body control and his foot movement for that is really, really good. Good overall hand use. He's been well coached. He has power, but he doesn't have that bull rush that Young and Jackus have. I think he's a solid day 2 guy. I don't think he goes in the first round, but he'd probably go in the second, at worst top of the third. But solid player.
He also is a guy who's a little older, according to who was it that just posted that?
I didn't look at it. I didn't look at the ages on these guys, but yeah, we already talked about that, and
yeah,
that's a team decision.
Okay, let me see what his age is. Oops.
He's 24. I don't really care. He's 25. Okay. I care a little bit, but
Derek Moore age. All right, so he is 23 years old. In December, he'll be 24, so that's not bad at all.
He's 23 for the whole season. He's fine.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. By the way, I want to get back to Xavier Young because somebody noted in the chat, Zion, excuse me, somebody noted that he had a DUI in January. How does a team consider that when evaluating a player?
You're going to get the police records. You're going to find out what was the alcohol content. You're going to talk to him about it, talk to people at the school about it. Then you're going to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Can I live with it? Is this a one-time thing or has he got a drinking problem? I think we could say, because I've had this discussion when we've done interviews and got everybody in the room, except for Lovey, who didn't drink. Lovey's never had a drop of alcohol in his life. All of us at one time or another very well could have gotten a DUI, but never got caught.
Interesting.
And I rarely drink anymore. I mean, if I have a drink a month, it's a lot.
Well, I'll tell you, by the way, it was Stephen Nagishi that mentioned the DUI. When Dak Prescott came into the NFL, he got a DUI about a month or two before the combine. And I was interested in him because everyone knew he was going to be a day 2 or early day 3 pick. So I took him off my board, me, an amateur guy, took him off my board saying, no way I touch him. But I was wrong. I should have done what you suggested is get more details, get more information.
Well, that's what it is. But say Joe Fan doesn't have the access to that information.
Right.
It's not public, but the teams do.
Right.
And they'll find out, and then they're going to make a decision.
Yep. And Stephen makes a good point. You also would talk to Luther Burden. Hey, what do you know about Zion?
You always do that. You're always going to go to the player. If you got a player that played with somebody you like, Derek Moore, you're going to go to Loveland to find out what Loveland feels about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Levante just said that, so perfect timing. All right, so good stuff. Yeah, I don't think you should immediately say, and a lot of people are in the chat room saying, nope, if he got a DUI, absolutely not. I think, Greg, I agree with you. Get more information because kids are kids. They make mistakes. You know, I had a few beers, and now I got a DUI because I had a third beer when I should have just stuck with one or two. Stuff happens. There's context.
Hey, that's why I said, when I was, I'll tell you a story. I mean,
Please.
Might be embarrassing, but, and this goes back, I was in my 20s, and I had my first Harley. And in Buffalo in June, it's like the first full weekend in June, they got this art festival called the Allentown Art Festival. And it's a huge, there's over 100,000 people there, maybe 120 in the small area of town called Allentown. A lot of bars there. So you're going down there, people watch, go to the bars, look at the art, because there is very good art there, and party. And it lasts like, it's Saturday and Sunday. So on Saturday, I'm in Mulligan's Brick Bar that burned down a year ago, been an institution. And I'm with 3 guys from the Buffalo Sabres. And I'll tell you one thing, those young hockey players back then could drink their asses off.
They're Canadian, of course.
Anyway, so we're drinking screwdrivers, and I bet you I haven't had a screwdriver in 40 years. But I know I had too many. And I had to drive that Harley back. And it was probably 8-9 miles to where I live.
Oh my God.
And now, car's one thing, a Harley's even harder.
Yeah.
I drove it. I got home, didn't have a problem. I was scared to death. And let me tell you, I was like this. I was so alert. Just watch it go. I know I'm drunk. I know that if I make one false move, I'm dead.
Yeah.
But,
Did you drive slower? Did you drive slower than normal?
No, because if you drive too slow, then you're pulled over for going too slow.
Exactly.
No, I was going like just below the speed limit.
Yeah. That's funny. Scrolls is one of those guys that's adamant. I don't want a guy that's had a DUI. And he goes on to say, shows bad decision making and the likelihood that he doesn't take care of his body like he should. You have thoughts about that?
I don't know if I don't know if I agree, because, and I don't know how old he is I just know that, like you said, kids make mistakes. And sometimes you get caught up doing shit that then you say, oh, I shouldn't have done it. Sometimes you get blamed for things that never really happened, or whatever. So
yep.
I learned one thing from all my time in the league, and that is, before you make a decision, get all the answers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a blanket decision. He screwed up over here. He's done. No, I'm going to find out. Get all the. Give me a second here.
Sure. All righty.
Anyway, get all the background information, talk to the school, and see what they have to say. Then I'm going to make a decision. Go from there.
Okay. Let me get Notorious's thoughts on this. He says, okay, but what if their ABV, alcohol, I don't know what that stands for, but is twice the limit, and they were pulled over for dangerous speeding and driving? Do you take them off the board or drop them a little?
If somebody is that zonked driving, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit more serious than a marginal DUI. And trust me, I'm not trying to stand up for anybody. I'm just telling you how you walk your way through this.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what the circumstances are. Yeah. You're not doing it, if it was that's a crime, but I mean a violent crime,
right?
It's a different story.
Yep.
Okay. There is no excuses on that.
And I would have been disappointed if the Bears would have drafted Jalen Carter, who was speeding and then left the scene of a crime. Teammate. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what the alcohol content he had in him, but he had a teammate whose car was in flames, and for him to leave the scene of the crime,
the person died.
Yeah, that person died. That to me is inexcusable. I would never have even talked to the guy. I'm sorry, but that's me.
No, you're 100% right.
Let us move on. Who you got next, my man?
Cassius Howell.
Oh yeah, Cassius Howell.
A&M. Texas A&M, fifth-year guy, played 3 years at Bowling Green, and he was a dominant player at Bowling Green, for a MAC pass rusher. Transferred into A&M in 24, became a dominant SEC pass rusher in 25, played in the rotation a year ago, 24, I think he had 4.5 sacks, something like that. He had 11.5 this year. I said he may be the fastest, most explosive pass rusher in this draft. Very quick, fast coming off the edge, relentless. He really has that dip and bend to get underneath offensive tackles. Great flexibility, strong with his bull rush, very good snap in his hips. Not as good versus a run. He's okay, just doesn't play it as consistently as the other guys we've talked about. I says he's got pass rush first mentality. He has one glowing problem. 31.5-inch arms in the spring.
Ouch.
And so that, we're going to find out what the real measurement is in a little over a week. And then it's, can I live with that? I would think that, that's what Parsons has. But and Parsons is special. Parsons was like a combination linebacker pass rusher at Penn State. Mm-hmm. So, it is a red flag. 31.5 on an edge is a red flag. His tape is great. And then you got that, it's like, oh shit. So I don't know where he goes. Production says he goes in the first round. How he looks on tape says he goes in the first round. That measurement may scare a lot of people. There's like the corner position. There are a lot of teams that will not draft a corner that is under 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
5'9", 5'9 3/4, you're too short. Yeah, it's a quarter inch off the line. But the line is the line, and you don't dip below it.
Do you think that Dennis Allen is that way about his edge players regarding length?
I don't know Dennis Allen to know that.
Gotcha.
But they always, between him and Poles, they always mention length.
Yeah, it is.
So it's important.
It is true. Okay. Let's see. I got a question about Howell. K says, does Howell fit the scheme at 6'2", 250?
Well, that's another thing. I estimated 6'2", 250. Might be 6'2.5". He might be 6'1.5". Because this is estimated, using the school numbers. So we'll find out. He wasn't a hotshot recruit because he went to Bowling Green. He went to the MAC.
Yeah.
But he got production at the MAC. And then Texas A&M brought him in, gave him some NIL money. So his tape this year, early in the year, he was just blowing people up. So I like him. I don't love him. And I don't love him because I'm a big arm length guy and he doesn't have it. So
go ahead and cough if you need to. I'm going to read. All right. Kay asked an interesting question that Booker, this Howell kid is similar to Booker, in terms of size and maybe arm length.
Well, no, Booker's a lot taller and narrow. Booker is over 6'4". They say 6'6". He's not 6'6".
Okay.
6'4" something. I mean, the Bears list him as 6'6", but he's not that tall.
Mm-hmm.
Booker is taller, longer, and he's more narrow. This guy's a shorter guy, very, very explosive. I mean, that is the key, is his athleticism, his explosiveness, his quickness. That's his game, and he's a tough guy to block. And to me, it's a big but.
Mm-hmm.
He's got alligator arms.
Yeah, it does seem every time I hear Dennis Allen talk about Austin Booker that he is critical about Booker's lack of length and weight, and so that seems to be like a high.
He's got Booker. It's the bulk.
Yeah, the bulk. You're right, and so that does seem to be a very high priority for him.
Well, he generally likes bigger guys. That's why guys like Zion Young and Jackus, to me, kind of stand out as fits for what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
But he drafted. He was he was a coordinator he drafted Khalil Mack as coordinator when they took Hendrickson. It might have been the head coach. They took Hendrickson. So he's had smaller guys.
Gotcha. Does production outweigh measurables when it comes to a player being a blue chipper?
You always got to look at production.
Yeah.
Production is important. That's why I'm giving the numbers.
Yeah.
This guy had, not only did he have 11.5 sacks at A&M this year, but I think 2 years at Bowling Green, he had like 8 and 9 or something like that, or 7 and 9. So, I mean, he's had consistent production.
Mm-hmm. J2K says Tyreek Sapp and Vincent Anthony are two fits for Dennis Allen, in his opinion. Different prospects.
I'm not a big Sapp fan, but we'll do him at another time.
Okay. He says Sapp is like Turner, Anthony is like Dale. Quick comparison. Have you reviewed either? So we'll get that in a very near show coming up. All right, J2K. Let us move on.
There's a lot more edges than there are DTs.
Yeah.
If you want a DT or a quality one, you got to get them early.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, I can't say it enough. 3 weeks from today, we're already we can, or maybe 3 weeks from now, we can figure out what they're going to do in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to know what they have lost.
Will they sign in free agency?
We should probably do that show 3 weeks from today, a little later in the afternoon instead of 11.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right, let us move on to your next player, who is...
I just got a flash on my computer. Robert Duvall died.
Oh, the great actor Robert Duvall.
I love him.
Yes, he's sensational. That is so sad. Robert Duvall, he played Tom in the Godfather movies, the Consigliere. He had a fantastic role in the movie Apocalypse Now, where he played Colonel.
Oh, that was super.
Oh, I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yep, that's like one of the all-time. He was like the ultimate tough guy. Did you watch the movie The Judge?
Yes, excellent.
He was superb in The Judge.
Yep. He, and the work. He was also in The Great Santini. You ever see that one? He played a really tough
I didn't see that, but he was in Lonesome Dove, and
yes,
he's just so good.
Yep. A fantastic actor. I'm sure Mike North and Joe Mandel will be doing a tribute to him this week. Robert Duvall has passed away. Thank you for that up. Oh, that was you, Greg.
I saw it popped up on my screen here.
All right, I think you got one left, and that is TJ Parker. Take it away.
Yeah. Clemson, Senior Bowl, 6'3" and 5'8", 263, 33 1/4 inch arms. He only had 5 sacks this year, but he had 11 in 2024. And coming out of 24, going into this year, he was projected to be a pretty high pick. Clemson as a whole, and I don't know the reason why, really wasn't anywhere close to what they were supposed to be. They really sucked when you get down to it. But he's very productive, solid edge. Said Clemson struggled this year and his sack production dropped from 11 to 5. But the talent's easy to see. Personally, I like Jackus and Young better, but I wouldn't mind having this guy. Similar speed to Jackus and Young, not a burner. I didn't put the speed down. Probably about a 4.7 guy, but quick enough. I said real good first step, solid run defender. You can set the edge. He's strong. Gets off blocks, moves inside like the Michigan kid really well. Quick to read and react. He's the guy with the stab, and he showed it at the Senior Bowl, and you see it on tape. He's got that stab like Booker, and I wrote that in here. Shows the power, doesn't have the bend and the lean of Howell, but he does a good job with counter moves and coming off blocks. Just a solid player. I know there's people got him higher. I like some of these other guys better.
Okay. Let's turn to some of the questions here. I'm trying to check to see if we've got any TJ Parker questions. I don't think you got an answer, but I'll pose this. What if Parker and Messidor are both there? Do you have a preference? Now, you haven't done Messidor yet.
No, I haven't done Messidor. You're going to look at age, size. See, people want to ask some of these questions now, and it's like asking the final score of the game when you're only in the third inning.
Yeah, I hear you.
And it's the way I've been taught to think.
Yeah.
It's a process. You got to go through each step in the process, and then you come up with a solution. Teams only got, and they'll be done this week, like I'll call it their semifinal board. Okay, but I'm struggling today. That's anyway. The coaches are just getting involved. You don't have a coaches report on any of these guys,
right?
Okay, so the coaches will get involved over the next 6-7 weeks. You'll get combine information, you'll get pro day information, you'll get medical information. All that's got to, and then you'll set a final board in April.
Gotcha. And Joe, I know you just joined us a little while ago. Greg has not done his report on Messidor yet. He will probably in the weeks ahead.
Messidor is not projected. I'm just using projection by some of these guys of when they're going to go. So I'm looking, guys, okay, these are guys we're going to be looking at.
Yeah.
Now, when things change and it looks like they're going to be there, but then we'll do them. I mean, we'll do them before the draft, that's for sure.
Gotcha. I think I got maybe one or two more questions here. Joe Grizz is asking, would you trade Bajan for a second rounder? And I'm going to guess that you're going to say no, right?
You wouldn't get a second rounder, number one. And number two, who's your backup?
Yeah, that's the issue.
Like a real important position. Because if your number one goes down, you better have a damn good number two.
Indeed. I do want to ask you this, Greg, because I was thinking with the talent that's going to be available at 25, it could potentially be comparable to most of the talent available in round two. I was thinking about that as I was looking at the defensive tackles.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to get, that 25 to 35 area and stuff.
So if you could make a trade.
Yeah, I mean, look at what he did in the second round last year.
Exactly.
It's going to be, you're going to anticipate who's going to be there, who isn't going to be there. You're going to see how guys come off the board. I mean, you make these plans before you go into the draft. You know, they're not made draft night. And then you say, okay, if so-and-so's there, I'm taking him.
Mm-hmm.
If he's gone, then I'm open to suggestions. And you let teams know in the week leading up to the draft, few days leading up to the draft, that, hey, you know, my guy may not be there. If that's the case, you willing to come up, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is just throw out the bait. You don't make a deal yet. You just throw out the bait. And by doing that, if teams are interested, and in that area, there will be teams interested.
Yeah. There's going to be teams that are interested in getting the fifth-year option that the round one pick offers.
Well, there's going to be everybody. We said it a lot. Every board is different. No two draft boards are the same. There's going to be a guy jumping out to some team. They're going to say, "Oh my God, I got to get him." Bears are willing to trade, and then you're going to put a deal together, and you know it'll. It's a good decision. It depends. You know, what are you looking at? What do you want? Number one, what are you looking at? Let's say you're stuck. You've got to have a DT. You know, if you're going to trade, you got to have a DT. You're not going very far because there's not as many DTs.
Right.
Okay. If you get a DT in the draft or rather in free agency, and then well, let me see what my neighbor wants here. She never sends things unless
maybe
she's going to big bowl. She wants to know if I want any. I'm going to say those peanut noodles.
I love it.
You know what I'm talking about? You ever had those?
Yes. Oh, that's funny. That's nice of her to reach out to you.
Well, you know, she's a widow, and so she lives next door.
And with your wife out of town, you're a bachelor.
Yeah, and she's also semi-incapacitated. She's had, you know, she fell. She's had some injuries. So I do a lot of stuff for her.
All right.
Oh, that's you know, I take out her garbage, bring in her garbage, all sorts of stuff like that. So
I think that's it for our questions, Greg. Is there anything that you wanted to get off your chest before we're done with this show?
No, I no matter what everybody says, I don't think that the Ian Cunningham thing is dead yet. Yeah, I think you're not going to know that until a month from now.
Oh, really? A month? I was thinking next week, but
no. The comp picks don't come out until the middle of March, end of March.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I think that the Bears got a very strong case that they should be getting this. I know what the league's public stance is, but that doesn't mean they're not receptive to discussing it.
Right. Yeah. And Greg, you're still got work to do on guys like Joshua Josephs and Nadeem Tucker.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'm not going to do because I don't have the time is do 200 guys for here. Yeah. It's just, it's just not going to happen because I've got guys I got to do I'm on next year already with my work with agents.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we'll have some guests that can answer some of those questions about those guys. We've got Ian Cunningham from Pro Football Network coming up. We've got who else? We've got somebody for next week, I believe. Oh, Willie Anderson, the former former Pro Bowl left tackle from the Cincinnati Bengals. He wants to talk about arm length.
But it'd be an interesting conversation.
Yes, because he says there are ways to get around the arm length issue for offensive linemen. So I'm dying to hear the two of you talk about that.
Well, who will say that also? Olin.
Cool. Olin has said that. That is true.
Because Olin's got short arms. He uses himself as an example.
Well, he played center. I never saw one at left tackle. All right, that's fantastic. All right, one program note reminder tonight at 7 p.m. Central. It is Draft on Tap. Danny Shimon and Aaron Current are going to talk about the needs that the Bears have going into the offseason here, first free agency, of course, and then the draft. So listen to them. And then on Wednesday night, it is Spare Their Souls. Greg, you're the absolute best. I will see you here next week.
Hang on 1 second. I just want to look up one thing.
All right.
Okay. I'm not sure if he played for Jim McNally at Cincinnati. Anderson did. Jim McNally is a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, a Buffalo guy. But he was at Cincinnati forever, and as the offensive line coach, and one of the better offensive line coaches in football is retired now. We had him in New York, but that was a little bit after the, I know it was in the late 90s. It was when Fossil was the head coach, and early 2000s. Whether McNally was with Anderson, I don't know, but I want to ask that question.
Okay, excellent. That'll be fun. So make sure you guys are all here live next week. Interact with Greg and Willie Anderson. It should be a ton of fun. For Greg Gabriel, I'm Aldo Gandia. Take care, everybody.
We'll see you. Thank you.